Hello guys, and welcome to another Bimmer Fixer video. And in this video I'm going to be showing you how to change the battery in this E-series key fob. This one here is from my new 525i e60. It still works, the battery's got a little bit of life left in it, but the range isn't great, so we're going to change that out. It is the one with its non-comfort access, so it hasn't got the removable patch on the back to change the battery. This one we actually have to open up because it's a sealed unit. But I'll show you how to do that now. I'll show you what you need. Some sort of knife like this one, Stanley, or a craft knife like this one. You'll need something with a flat wide edge like this. This can be a wide-headed flathead screwdriver or a butter knife, something like that. You will need a soldering iron. It's a fairly cheapy one, but it does the job. I'll put the link for everything in the description. We'll need some flux and solder. Okay, the flux is to help the soldering process, and you'll need some super glue and some sandpaper. That'll be to sand the two halves once we've separated them to make sure we get a nice snug clean fit, and not forgetting the new battery. So I'll get this all organised, we'll get the soldering iron up and running and everything else, and then I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so first things first, we need to remove the emergency key. So we push the little button down on the back and pull it out there, put that aside. Okay, and then we take either our Stanley knife or the craft knife. Now extend the blade as little as possible, okay, and you need to insert it in the little grooves there and make your way along the full diameter of the key. Okay, now don't rush it, it might take 5 to 10 minutes, but it's going to be worth it. If you go too hard on it, or you have too much of the blade showing, you could go through the key too soon and damage the internals inside, or even worse, you can slip off and cut your thumb. Okay, so just take it easy, take your time, don't rush, make a neat job of it, and then just keep going around the center. Okay, and then you'll find that it'll start to open up. Okay, with the craft knife you can have the blade out slightly further, okay, and you can go in through the gap there, and you can kind of use a sawing motion. Again, be careful, not too much pressure, and what you'll find that it'll just bite in a bit, and then it's easier to kind of keep track of it. Okay, so that's the techniques for those two. Keep going round, and then you will take the flat-headed either screwdriver or trim removal tool, something like that. Okay, and then you need to pop it in and then prise it open. Okay, if you use something like this, okay, or it's too thin here, when you go to put that in the key and you try to, especially if you've rushed it and not taken enough of the plastic off, if you put that in and twist it, you'll buckle the side of the case. Okay, and it just it looks a bit tatty and you'll knacker it. Okay, so just use something a bit flatter to get that open. Okay, so then once you've done that, you'll have your key open like this one. Okay, then all you need to do is you need to pop out the board like so. Okay, and there you go, there's your 3 buttons here. Okay, and that's the battery. Now the battery is a bit of a funny battery. Okay, this metal clip here is actually attached to the battery, hence why we've got a solder, and the 2 soldering points are here and here. Okay, so we'll get the soldering iron and then we'll quickly heat those up, and then the battery should just either drop off or need just a bit of persuasion to get that off. Okay, so before you actually start soldering, if you pop a little bit of flux on the solder points there and there, just a little bit, okay, and this will help the soldering process. This will help you to not burn the board, and also when you actually go to apply fresh solder, won't stick to the iron, and you won't pull it away every time you try and solder. Okay, so once you get the battery like that, try and put a little bit of pressure, not too much, on the battery, okay, away from the board. So when you go to apply your soldering iron like that, just give it a bit of heat, the angle right, there we go, and you can kind of, there we go, so that's one side off. Okay, so you kind of do the same again. Just if you hold the battery like that, bit of pressure, again not too much, go on like that, and stubborn. God, it's putting up a fight. There we go, got it. Okay, so there we go. So that's the old battery off, and then we'll grab the new one. Okay, and then we'll pop it in place, and then we will resolder. Okay, so once you get your new battery, the little tabs on the battery go through the holes left by the old one. Okay, pop on a little bit of fresh flux. Dab there, and again on that one. Okay, now you might be fortunate enough to have a little bit of the old solder left to have enough to reseal it, but just in case you haven't, just pop a fresh dot on like that. Okay, and then the same again here. There we go. And that should do it. So there we go. So it's soldered back on now. Okay, that's nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. So we'll let that cool down, and then we'll get the case ready to get glued back together. Okay, so what I did just before it cooled down, I just tested the buttons before I put it back together to make sure everything still worked. So we still had the open or unlock, lock, and the boot opening that all worked, and I've got a lot more range on it, and it should hopefully get rid of the battery key symbol warning on the dash as well. So putting the case back together, before we put it back together, and to make it a neat job, we're going to sand down any rough edges that we've got left over from using the Stanley knife or craft knife. So I'm just going to use 180 grit sandpaper. All right, I'm just going to pop it down on a flat surface, and then just gently rub like that. Okay, just on that one. See how it's getting all the burrs off and everything. So you can just go around. There we go. Okay, so carry on with one half, and then just repeat the process on the second. And then once that's done, I'll show you what to do after that. Right, so the final part, pop the board back in to either side, doesn't matter. Okay, and then get your glue. You can use super glue. I'm using like epoxy, so I've just mixed it up. You don't need lots, that's too much. You don't need a lot, you just need enough to dab on all the corners and some on the edge. Okay, put a little bit more on there. There we go. That should do it. Okay, so we'll leave that to go slightly tacky, and then it'll just be a case of popping the two halves back together. Okay, there we go, all done. So to help the drying process and to make sure it stayed in line, I just put some tape around it for 20 minutes or so, just while the glue set, just so it didn't come out of line or anything. But there we go, so job done. So all done, all the buttons working nicely, got a nice click to them. I've probably just unlocked it and my boots just probably flied open. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful and helpful. Please leave a like if you did. Please leave a comment. I really enjoy reading your comments. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe too. So thanks very much, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.